Welcome. This is 108 Stitches, which is a mostly knitting video podcast. And my name is Emily, and I live in Seattle, Washington with my husband Nafis and our pup Norman. And welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This is episode 40, and today is Tuesday, April 19th. For the last couple weeks, I've actually been doing a great job of recording every Monday, and I just didn't get to it. Felt like there was some stuff I wanted to finish up before recording this week, so I am on the Tuesday schedule instead. I'm sorry about the light. I don't really know what to do about the light coming in. I'm recording, it is just before 10 a.m. and we actually have some sunlight here in Seattle. It has been really, I'm sure you guys aren't surprised, really like rainy and gloomy. So, oh my goodness, sorry. I can tell that some of my hair just like poked out of my little clip bun here. I feel like every time recently I've been saying that it's been, a chaotic energy and that I'm like all over the place, and I really do feel that today. I don't know if I'm completely prepared to do this. I did take some notes about like the knitting stuff, but I just, as I was, like I said, on my tripod and was walking over here, and I thought of like 3 more things that I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to try to actually, live on screen here, take notes of some things I wanted to talk about. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm definitely not, I don't have it completely together today. But when do I ever have it completely together? That's just kind of how things go. But I'm here. I actually considered not recording today just because, I don't know, I think my expectation for, what I need to have prepared to talk about is, my bar for that is pretty high. I want to make sure I have new projects or, finished up, that kind of stuff to talk to y'all about. And I don't when I'm recording every week. And this last week was a really busy week. I was actually sitting down thinking about it, writing down all the stuff we'd done and reflecting on the week. And we did a lot this week. We had a lot going on. And so I'm actually kind of impressed with myself that I got any knitting done. And I do have a couple of knitting items to show you. And then probably just a heads up, 1, it may be a shorter episode, but 2, it may also be an episode that is a lot of just me talking about what's going on in my life, what we're up to. So if that's not your style, if you don't love that, totally fine. I definitely get that. Most people are here to listen to me talk about the knitting, and I'm definitely going to do that. But if you don't want to hear the other stuff, that's fine, and you can peace out afterward. There's horrible glare on my glasses right now. Is there a different angle I can go at? Maybe we'll just do, I don't know. I don't know if this is better. We're doing our best today, okay? That is every day. That's all we can do is just try to do our best. So let's just start. Oh, I thought of another thing I wanted to talk about. I'm gonna take these notes and then not look at them and still forget what I want to talk about, because that's what happens 90% of the time. Okay, I'm gonna take a sip of water. Why does this feel like a sprint? It doesn't have to be a sprint. I just so appreciate even more now the folks that get in front of the camera and just so calm, so soothing, and just I don't have that in me. I don't think. I get here and I'm all right, let's go. Oh, okay. It has been several minutes and I have not talked about anything that is anything of importance. So let's start now. Let's talk about, oh shoot, I hope I have everything with me. I think I should. Okay. Let's talk about the knitting stuff. So I don't have a full finished object, but I do have a half finished object to share with you all today. And that is a completed almost Argyle sock. So this pattern came out a couple weeks ago, week and a half ago. Yeah, 10 days ago. It's a pattern of my own design, and I am knitting a pair for my husband. This is the larger size, the 72 stitch size. The pattern has 2 sizes written into it. And I am using Explorer Knits Denali sock in the Nightfall colorway. And it's just this beautiful, like, you know, green blue. And the light. It's really not helping me here, but if I turn it, you can see a little bit. But has this nice, like, 1-stitch cable diamond pattern in it that looks that Nofis actually helped me name these socks because he told me that it looks like Argyle, like colorless Argyle. And so that's why I called these the Almost Argyle socks. And so I knit one for him. This is, yeah, the main color is the Explorer Knits Nightfall, and then I did the heels. I don't know if you can tell the color at all because the light is so weird today, but I did the heels and toes in a mini I had. It's the Grenouille Lamp Black. And this is a 75-25 merino nylon for the toe and the heel, and then the Denali sock I think is 80-20 merino nylon, but I'm not 100% sure. I forgot a couple things. One is when you knit socks for people who have bigger feet than you do, it takes longer. What an idea that I forgot. But I was just like knitting it, and I was like, okay, I'll try this on and see. I was like, oh no. His foot is bigger than mine. I have to knit this sock longer. And like the circumference is bigger, so it takes me longer to knit it. So I think about, you know, my standard, like, okay, a sock takes me like this long to knit or whatever. Not this one, it takes longer because it's bigger. So, but anyway, I finished the first sock. I haven't cast on the second sock. I finished this last night. My whole goal for yesterday was finish the sock, and now they're going to tell me that I don't need to, but I really wanted to have something finished to record, and that's part of the reason I'm recording today instead of yesterday, because I was like, I have to finish this sock before recording the podcast. And I had multiple times where I messed up and I had to go back like an inch. I think that happened like twice yesterday. I was like, okay, I'll just like finish the sock in the morning. And then the rest of the day I'll like work on other stuff or like do some other like design business stuff or whatever. I didn't finish it until like 9 o'clock at night. That's okay. I finished it, and so yeah, by that time I was like, no, I'm not casting on the next one. I'm going to work on something else. So that is my half-finished object. I will cast the other one on probably today so that I have it cast on for like travel knitting and stuff too. A sock is always good to have. So I'll cast that back on today, but that is my half-finished object. And Nofis has been really, I'll say this nicely, he's been really wanting the socks. He has been mentioning it to me more regularly. I think it's mostly a joke. I don't want to make it seem like he's being, you know, demanding or whatever, but I can tell that he wants the socks. So I'm not going to, you know, like try to rush or anything, but I don't want to let it stall out. I want to make sure that he, you know, he's taken care of. So, I mean, especially, sorry, I don't mean to get like super sappy here or anything. Anyone who knows me in person knows that like a very central part of my identity is how like literally obsessed I am with my husband. But yeah, he's been so incredible and supportive of me through like all this like transition time. If you guys don't know, like I recently left my job with the Mariners and I'm now pursuing like knitting and fiber arts as a full-time job. I work part-time at a yarn store, Lomah, and then the rest of my time I'm spending investing time and energy into my designing and into the podcast and that kind of stuff. And so I just couldn't do it without him. Like emotionally, financially, any of this I couldn't do if I didn't have his like love and support. And so the very least I can do is knit him a pair of socks. And it's so sweet to me also that I asked him like what kind of socks he wanted. I was happy to do any pattern. Like I thought he might want just like a basic kind of simple sock, like vanilla sock or like a basic ribbed sock. And he said he wanted the Almost Argyle sock. He wanted my pattern, my design. So yeah, he's just the best person. And so if anyone in my life has a right to demanded goods from me, and let me be clear here, he is not demanding, but if anyone has a right to, it is absolutely him. So That's the first sock for Noffice. Now, oh man, now I want to like stop recording and just like get the second sock done as fast as I can so we can have socks. But yeah, so that's my half-finished object. I also am realizing as I'm looking at myself on the screen here that I did not talk about what I'm wearing, and I'm trying to do better about that. So I am wearing, this is my Rift tee that I knit, I think a couple years ago in 2020. And I knit, there are two like neckline options, and okay, wait. I'm gonna slow down and explain this clearly. So it has a split hem that you're supposed to do like a high-low hem, so like high in the front and lower in the back, like a longer hem in the back. But I wanted my shirt to be reversible because there are two neckline options. There's like a boat neck option and a V-neck option. And so I did my hem the same length. So I don't know if you can see my split hem is like the front and the back are the same length. Oh, don't we love this twisted rib detail down the side? So good. I want to knit another one of these. Anyway, so this is the V-neck option. I knit it so that it's reversible, but I only wear it on this side. I just always like this, but I can show you the back as well if you want to see the other side. I can't see the screen, so I don't know how well you can see that, but there you go. So this is my Rip tee. I knit it out of, I think the yarn is called Rowan Lomah. And for some reason, my like memory is telling me that the colorway was Peru, but I don't actually know if that's true or not. That's just what's popping into my head. So that may be true, that may not be true. But this is a pattern by Jacqueline Cieslak. I love this pattern. Highly recommend to anyone if they want a nice basic tee. And this yarn is really nice too. I just feel like this top is super wearable. So anyway, okay. That's what I'm wearing. That's my half-finished object. I have a couple of whips. So you guys will remember last time I talked about my Birch Pullover, which is a sweater pattern by Andrea Mowry. I don't know if I've knit even a single stitch on this since I recorded last. I cast on a new sweater, so I'll talk about that one next. But yeah, I stalled out on this. I wanted to finish the yoke or the like raglan increases by the time I recorded next, and I didn't do that. I may have knit like a couple rows, but anyway, this is just a I thought the Fisherman's Rib was the same as half brioche, but I think there's a full Fisherman's Rib and a half Fisherman's Rib. So I was actually watching an Andrea Mowry video where she was talking about this, and I think I was confused about it. But Fisherman's Rib, I think the pattern, like the actual fabric, is the same as brioche, but you knit it in a different way. It's whether you do the like knit one stitch below or you do the like yarn overs and knit them together. I don't know if this makes sense to anyone who's ever done brioche or Fisherman's Rib or whatever. This is half brioche or half Fisherman's Rib. And yeah, it's going to take me forever. I will finish it, but I do think it's going to take me forever. I don't think this is going to be the sweater that I finish by the end of the month. I think I'm going to invest my time and energy into another sweater that I cast on and hopefully finish it by the end of the month. I think I talked about this last time, but my goal is to finish like one sweater per month this year. And we'll see if I get there, but I'm a little bit behind. I finished my March sweater a little bit into April, so I got started on the Birch a little bit late, and then I gave up on that and I cast on a new sweater, so I really need to get going to finish my April sweater. We'll see if I make it. So I didn't give you like any information about this. I talked about it last time. Okay, very quick. This is the Birch Pullover, which is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. Like I said, this is a pretty basic half brioche pullover, knit top down. I did like the tubular cast on 2x2 ribbing for the neck, and then you do the half brioche in the raglan, and I'm still in the raglan part. The yarn I'm using is Autumn and Indigo Classic Sport, and the colorway is Lomah. It is a beautiful mustard color that I love. Here's my swatch of it. What else? I'm knitting the smallest size. My gauge is off. I did the gauge math. One of you in the comments asked if I would do like more information, like more of an episode about how I do that adjustment. and I'd be happy to do that. It's just like some simple like ratio math, and I can definitely go over that. I'll have to prepare a little bit just to like make sure I know the cleanest and like clearest way to explain that. But that's a great idea for me to do, especially if I'm going to try to do these podcasts every week. There are going to be some weeks when I don't have a lot of content, and so it'd be good to go over something like that maybe in a slower episode. So I'll definitely think about that, and hopefully we'll share with you all what I do. I think other people have shared their own techniques and stuff too, so you can probably find it elsewhere as well, but I'd be happy to go over it at some point. So anyway, I did do that here. I did do some gauge math, and my gauge is like a little bit off, so I'm knitting a smaller size, and I'm sure it'll work out. I may do fewer raglans. I will just say also, like, you have to be a little bit adaptable when you do something like that, because you want to make sure the proportions still work out the way that you want to, and I feel pretty comfortable doing that and like making those adjustments on the fly. I don't think I always felt that way, but I think with my knitting I'm in a point now where I feel like pretty comfortable doing things like that. So I don't know that I would necessarily recommend something like that for, like, you know, I wouldn't do it for your first sweater. I really try to get gauge at the beginning and just like follow the pattern instructions. But yeah, this is something I'm like comfortable enough doing now. So, okay, that's the birch. I did cast on. So I shared with you all last time some yarn that I was really excited to cast on, and I decided to cast it on because I don't know. This feels like the year to just follow my knitting joy. I don't know if that's like super cheesy to say, but I was just like, man, I'm excited about this. I'm going to cast it on. I'm going to knit it. Norman just got up from his nap. What are you doing, bud? Okay. He's thirsty. He's going to go get some water, I think. We may be able to hear him drinking in a second here. Or, oh. I can't tell if he's going to go downstairs and try to visit an office. Okay. I shared last time some yarn that I was really excited to cast on, and yeah, I'm just going to follow what is making me excited. Hi! Do you want to come say hello? He's just looking at me. Okay. So that day that I recorded last week, so I guess that was Monday, I did go ahead and swatch for it. So let me just share the yarn again. So I had this yarn is Grenouille pink Moonstone in their 8515 sock base. It's just like a really beautiful kind of like basic light pink color. Here it is. We'll see if it will focus. Beep, beep, beep. It's kind of focused. I'm not sure if you can tell that. And then I also purchased some Stress Knits Cloud, which is her Surrey alpaca and silk base in the Palm Lines color. And I thought they went beautifully together. And then I had some light colored Advent minis from my 2020 Grenouille Advent. So let me pull those out. Here they are. So I pulled out all the kind of like lighter pastel colors. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Maybe. Oh, sorry about that. Norman, do you want to come here? No. No, he does not. Sorry, yeah, so I pulled out like the pastel colors. These are not actually the exact same ones I swatched with. There was like a darker one in here that I removed, and I switched it out for another lighter one I had. But this is my swatch. So, okay, the idea is that I was going to stripe between this pink and the pastel colors, kind of like I did for the stripy turtle tank, where I do like the main color every other stripe, and then I switch to one of the minis every other stripe. And you can see that in the swatch. And then I just hold the pink Surrey with it throughout. So this is a swatch. I wish you guys could feel this. It feels amazing. It's so squishy. I did a 2x2 broken rib. So it made just like this really nice fabric. And I was trying to decide like whether I just wanted to do a basic stockinette raglan or like what I wanted to do. And there's actually a pattern in the Ready Set Raglan book that I wanted to try that was this like 2x2 broken rib. The pattern is, let me pull it up here. Eila is the name of the pattern. Here it is. And it's just like a nice broken rib. And so yeah, I swatched for it, and then I think the next day I just cast on the sweater. I did modify it, you know who I am. I modify like every pattern now. It's just, I don't know, I feel like confident enough to make it exactly the way I want it to be, you know? So anyway, the only modification I did here was like not super complicated, but I did do a folded brim rather than just like the normal whatever. I think they just had like a 2x2 ribbed brim, and I did a 1x1 rib. And then actually, instead of doing it, different patterns have you do it different ways for the like folded collar or the folded brim. Some patterns will have you just like cast on right below where the collar would be, and then like knit the whole thing, and then pick up stitches at the end, and then knit the brim, and then fold it over and like seam it down. What I did this time actually is I cast on stitches for the collar, so I actually cast on fewer stitches than the pattern called for because I wanted it to be like up a little bit closer to my neck. So I cast on fewer stitches, and I'll just do like an extra raglan or two increase to make up for that. So I guess I did modify a little bit, but yeah, and then I just knit like 2.5 inches in the 1x1 rib, and then I picked up stitches from my cast on and knit them together to make this like little looped collar thing. And then I had, you know, live stitches there, and I just kept going with the pattern. So I just did the short rows, and then I went into the raglan increases, and that's where I'm at now. I'm on too small of a needle. My plan this morning was to move this over to a larger needle before recording, but you can see that I didn't do that. I forgot to do that. So that's where we're at now. But I'm really loving how it's working up. It's so fuzzy and fluffy. The texture is just so fun. It's soft. I'm using my Hello Lavender Duomo stitch markers, which also I think just like vibe with this project so well. Let me show you that. This is the Duomo stitch marker. I don't know if it'll focus. There we go. It's just so pretty. How beautiful is that? Yeah, and I don't know, this sweater had like kind of Easter feeling to me, just like the colors, like pastel or whatever. And so I wanted to cast it on and have those like Easter springy vibes. So I did. And I haven't worked on it a ton. I mean, this knits up super fast. It's like a pretty loose gauge. I think these are like US size 7 needles. Who knows what they actually are, but I think they're US size 7. And I am also, for this one, I believe I'm knitting the smallest size or the second to smallest. I'm not sure. I should know that. I think I put it in my Ravelry project page, but I don't know. I think my gauge was close on this one actually though. It's pretty close. I didn't block my swatch though. You know, we can only do so much. Yes, I believe I'm knitting the smallest size for this one, but I expect it to give me a little more ease than the smallest size because I think my gauge was very slightly off. So yeah, again, this is the Eila, and it's from the Ready Set Raglan book. I don't know who the actual like designer of the pattern is. I actually spent some time this morning looking through the book trying to figure out like who designed this pattern, because I've knit another one out of this book, the Woodwardia, which is a pattern by Lydia Gluck, but it's also in the Ready Set Raglan book. And I couldn't find even, like, I went to that one to try to find where it listed the designer, and I couldn't find it. So I don't know if it's just because it's part of the book, like they don't list the designers separately, or like maybe I just couldn't find it. I don't know. So I don't know who designed the Eila pattern. I probably could have looked online, and maybe I'll try to find that information before I post in the description box about the patterns I'm knitting. But it is in the Ready Set Raglan, the pom-pom book. Oh my god, this is a gift from my Grammy not last Christmas, but the Christmas before. And I have already knit the Woodwardia out of it, which I love. So this is a really fun, like, just basic raglan book, especially for me who's like, it actually talks quite a bit about like modifying the patterns and stuff too, like doing different necklines or whatever. So if you are into that, if you want just kind of like basic raglans to start with that you can like change or modify, I think this is a great book for that. So that's my second work in progress. What do y'all think? Do you think I can finish it by the end of this month? It's April 19th. How many? Okay, I use this like knuckle thing to figure out how many days are in each month. I don't know if any of you are going to know what I'm talking about. April has 30 days. I have 11 days to finish this sweater. Okay, well, we need to get going. I'd also like to finish the other sock this month, and I have another cast on, so my last work in progress is a new design, and I posted a little bit about this in my Instagram stories that you guys may have seen it. Actually, I talked about this in the last episode. I keep forgetting that, like, I actually recorded not that long ago, so, like, you guys know what's going on. I'm not, like, sharing anything new this week, I guess. But I cast on a summer top using this beautiful yarn. This is Knitting for Olive cotton merino, which is 70% cotton, 30% merino, and this is a fingering weight yarn. It is in the soft aqua colorway, which I just love. And I cast on and have been knitting a basic, well, not basic. I don't know why I said basic. It's a new design. It's like pretty basic. It's like a summer tee or summer top, and I'm not going to try to describe what it's going to look like because I think it'll just be much easier once the sample is knit and then I can show you what it's going to look like, but this is what I've done on it so far. It just has like a nice little ribbed hem, and oh, and then also I'm kind of like building the suspense a little bit. Sorry, my thoughts are all over the place, but yeah, here it is. Just a nice little like twisted rib hem. Y'all know I love the twisted rib hem. And then this is not focusing. And then just some stockinette, and we're gonna do the stockinette for a while until I'm ready for the next design element. This is not there, it's kind of whatever. Y'all can see there's some knitting happening. So yeah, this is a new design. I'd love to finish this by the end of the month as well. So the big ambitions I have are finish another sweater, knit a full sock for an office, and finish this whole tank in the next 11 days. Am I nuts for thinking I can do that? And we have like one of Office's friends is coming to stay with us for the next, like, she's coming on Thursday and is going to be here for like a week. So I don't know if, like, I'm just going to be, I don't know if I'm going to have time. Like, oh, I'm getting stressed. I know that it's okay if I don't finish the things, but I want to, you know? Anyway, so that is, yeah, that's all the knitting stuff. I don't have any acquisitions this week. I didn't buy anything. I have other stuff I want to knit and that I want to cast on, but I'm holding off on. So we'll see what I'm able to accomplish with these couple projects, and hopefully I can get them all nice and wrapped up by the end of the month. And if I can't, then that'll be okay. So that's what I've been knitting on. So if you just were interested in hearing about the knitting stuff, now is probably a good time to peace out, because I was just going to talk a little bit about like what we've been up to and like what we have upcoming. There's been those were not the right words. There has been some fun kind of like design stuff going on behind the scenes that I'm excited to share with you all soon. I don't know what I'm doing, to be quite honest with you. I have downloaded Adobe products to try to assist in some stuff, like Photoshop and Lightroom, working on like taking better photos and even like building out some branding stuff, which is scary and new to me, and I don't know what I'm doing at all, but I'm having fun with it. So hopefully I'll have some updates for y'all on that front soon. We'll see what I'm able to do it's definitely been interesting. Yeah, I feel like pretty confident in my ability to like knit. There's some other things, you know, that I feel like I'm competent at, but there's a lot of stuff with the design business that I'm not as comfortable with. And so the process for executing those things has been really interesting to follow. Like, okay, I want to like design, let's say I want to design a logo or like have a color palette or like pick fonts or whatever, like these kind of branding type things. And I'll think, okay, like, you know, here are all my options. I'll go through all the options, think about these are the ones I like, these are the ones I don't like. I put everything together and I'm like, yes, I love this. This is amazing. And then like 20 minutes later, I look at it and I'm like, I hate it. This is horrible. How could I possibly have thought that this was good? So like going through that process has been fun. I don't know what I actually like. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, that's one thing I've been working on that's been taking up some of my time. And that's the thing too, I expected like, okay, if I want to do designing more full time and like I want to invest a lot more in the podcast and that kind of stuff, I'm just gonna have time to knit all the time. And there's so much that goes into it that's not just knitting. Like if I want to really be super cognizant and like careful and invest a lot of time and energy into this space, there's a lot that goes into it that's not just knitting. And so that's what I've been thinking about and spending my time on. And so I actually didn't have as much time this last week, and I don't know if I will in the future as well to like knit as much as I was wanting to, but that's okay. It's still fun. And it's really fun stuff. And the knitting I'm sure will come as well, but that's one thing I've been working on. We also, some of my friends and I booked an Airbnb for Rhinebeck last week, which I'm so excited about. If you're gonna be there, definitely let me know, like comment below or like message me on Instagram or whatever, because I want to see everyone that I can. I'm so excited to be there. But yeah, we just booked our Airbnb. Tickets don't go on sale until June, I don't think, so we'll be waiting for that to get tickets to the actual Sheep and Wool Festival. If you're unfamiliar about what Rhinebeck is, which I should have explained that. There's the New York Sheep and Wool Festival happens every October in Rhinebeck, New York. And it is just like a massive sheep and wool festival, but also there are like tons of vendors, and it's a great gathering of a lot of like fiber folks, just like knitters and crocheters and yarn dyers and manufacturers and sheep people. And I've never been before, and I'm so excited. This is going to be my first year. We're going to go up to Rhinebeck, and I think we're going to go early enough to go to Indie Untangled as well, which is a separate event that has a lot of indie dyers as vendors that you can go and shop at and everything. So yeah, we are so excited. I can't wait. I think it's going to be so much fun. And I know it's like 6 months away, but I'm already just like, so excited for it. So yeah, if you're going to be there, let me know. And I'm sure I'll have lots of more, thoughts about it as we approach. If I'm going to knit a Rhinebeck sweater, I mean, I'll knit lots of sweaters and I'll wear some of them at Rhinebeck, but if I'm going to knit like a dedicated, Rhinebeck sweater or whatever, and like what projects I'm going to be looking for yarn for or that kind of stuff. I don't know if I'll try to like, take photos. I'm sure I'll take photos and videos when I'm there, but I don't know if I'll try to do dedicated, like vlogging seems intense. I don't know if I'm like chill enough for that or like good enough at vlogging to do that. I don't know, but we'll see. I might put together something when I'm there, but anyway, that's far off, but I'm so excited about it. I can't wait. And so yeah, we booked our lodging for Rhinebeck. Let's see what else. So we had a lot going on this week. I had my next couple of days, I guess it was my second week at the store at La Mercerie, and that has just been such a joy. Every time I leave the store, I can't wait to go back, and today's Tuesday, so I get to go back again on Thursday, so I can't wait. If you're in the Seattle area or like in the Poulsbo, greater Seattle Poulsbo area, you should definitely come by the store. It's beautiful, and we would love to see you and chat with you about, it's so much fun to just get to chat with people about like yarn and their projects and everything. And hanging out there with Jess, the owner of the store. Has just been so much fun. And then, I don't know, I feel like I'm going to do this like little spiel every episode. I'm just like, yes, by the way, I love working at the yarn store. But I do. So that's been, yeah, it's been really fun. And honestly, something I've loved that I didn't expect to love is packing orders. You would think that that would be just kind of like a monotonous kind of task, but I really like it. I love to see what people ordered, and I honestly kind of like a repetitive task. We were packing up putting together the boxes and like packing up the sock sets for the year of socks for next month. And I was like, just like getting super into the groove of like building these boxes and like seeing how fast I could put them together. I don't know, maybe that's like really weird, but I don't know. I think it's fun. So anyway, I love that. That's going super well. On Thursday night, we went to a new restaurant near Malls, which is like a nice Indian restaurant in Pioneer Square in Seattle, and it was Seattle Restaurant Week, which is this thing where you can like pay a flat, you know, whatever. I think it's like $30 or $35 or something, and you get a 3-course meal, and they have like a limited menu, and you get to pick like from a couple appetizers, from a couple of entrees, and from a couple desserts. And so we went and did that, and the food was really yummy. So we did that on Thursday night. Friday was the Seattle Mariners home opener, so we got to go to the game with a couple friends, one of my former coworkers, and friend. His wife is a good friend of mine as well, and so we got to go to the game with them, and I got to see some of my other former coworkers, and it was a great game. The Mariners won 11-1, so that was, of course, really fun, and yeah, we had a really great time there. It was great to be back. It was great that baseball's back, and we've been watching a lot of baseball as well since baseball's been back as well. Sorry, I said as well like 3 times there. That was too much. On Saturday after work, I came back from being at the store, and we went over to a friend's house it was our first ever Passover Seder. So we got to experience that for the first time, learned so much. He did such a great job. My friend Forrest, who was like leading it, did an amazing job just like answering our questions and explaining to us what was going on, and the food was amazing. It was just so fun to be there and be with friends. That was a really cool experience. And then the next day, on Sunday morning, we had friends come over for a little like Easter brunch, and we made, I feel like we've been doing this a lot, I keep telling you, it's always biscuits and gravy, but we made biscuits and gravy. One of our friends is vegetarian though, so we made vegetarian gravy. Nafis made vegetarian gravy for the first time, and it turned out really good. So that was delicious. Biscuits, gravy, deviled eggs, you know, all that. I also, my mom had sent me this like little egg dyeing kit where you like put the egg in, like you hard boil the egg and you put it in this like thing, and it spins the egg, and then you have these markers, and you like press the marker onto the egg while it's spinning, and so it makes these like stripes. I don't know if that makes sense at all, but I decorated these eggs with these beautiful stripes. So that was fun, and then I almost immediately peeled them so that I could make them into deviled eggs. So that was really fun. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what we've been up to. It feels tiring, just that we've had a lot going on. Yesterday, like I mentioned, I kind of was focused on trying to finish off this sock yesterday, so I was just kind of chilling a lot, did a ton of laundry, and just like took care of some chores and house stuff. Today I'm planning to go to Lowe's because I want to we have strawberry plants that we started last year, and last year they started to have like little strawberry buds, and then we think critters got them and like took them away. So I need to go to Lowe's and get some like chicken wire or like some sort of caging to put over our strawberry plants so that the strawberries don't get taken. Our objective for this year is to have, I don't know, Nalfa seems like he wants more than one, but I will be happy, I will be satisfied if we get one good strawberry to eat. Like the bar is low, just like, can we produce a strawberry? So we'll see if we're able to do that. The plants look great, and they're like producing their little bulbs. That's why I really want to go today, to make sure that I can get the like caging wire so that I can protect them. So I have to do that.
We also are about ready. I think it's getting warm enough here. We're not going to have any more frost, so we're going to start our garden for this year. Y'all may remember last year it was tumultuous. We had like 4 different tomato plants, and 2 of them just like barely produced any tomatoes because they had this like blossom end rot issue. And there was one that we thought was a cherry tomato plant and turned out it wasn't a cherry tomato plant, and like everything, yeah, it didn't go great. This year we are focused on things going better. We're gonna do just cherry tomato plants because we've had much more success with those, and hopefully we can successfully purchase just cherry tomato plants. And then I think we're also gonna try some leafy greens this year because I've heard that those are just like, they grow really well. So like maybe some kale, spinach, I don't know. We'll see. We've been eating salads more. I never thought I would say that. I'm not a huge salad person, but Nafis like found this salad recipe that had, have I talked about this before? I don't know. Nafis found this winter salad recipe last year that had like red onion, feta, pomegranate, and like toasted nuts, and like a really nice like balsamic vinaigrette or whatever, and on kale. And I was like, oh, if you put things you like on the lettuce, it's like not horrible to eat. Then the lettuce is just like filler. You know, I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, I like cheese and fruit. So like if I put cheese and fruit on the salad, then like I'll eat it, then I won't hate it. So we were thinking maybe we could grow kale or whatever and then make our own kale salads. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see if we can do that successfully. Yeah. So that's what we're up to. Today's Tuesday. Like I mentioned, Nafis's friend is going to come, I think, on Thursday. So we'll have her here, and then we'll probably do some fun things while she's here. Maybe some like cooking and stuff. I'm not sure yet. Nafis is in charge of the food plan. So we'll see. Yeah, what we get up to. I'm not sure if I'll record next week, just depending on like how things go. I might, or it might be the week after that. Oh, one other thing I wanted to tell you all about too is for those of you who have been following along my plant subscription. So I shared about this, I think, I don't know if I've shared all the plants I got, but I got my mom for Christmas last year gave me a plant subscription. So I get a new plant delivered to me in the mail every month, a house plant, which is really fun. And my January and February plants are doing great. My March plant is not doing well. Excuse me. But I got my April plant, and here it is. It's so fun. I love the variegation on the leaves. I don't know if you guys can see that super well. Who knows if it'll focus or not. Yeah, there you go. You can see it. It reminds me so much, the variegation on the leaves, or like the leaf pattern, reminds me of my Ficus taniki. The shape of the leaves is really different, and apparently this is a vining plant. It's called, oh gosh, I think it's called Ivy Gold Child or something like that. I'm not sure. I'll double check it and I'll put it down below in the description box. But oops, I almost knocked that over the whole plant onto myself. That would have been bad. But I love this one, so I really hope that it stays happy, and I hope that it vines as well, because I think that would be really fun to put it like, wouldn't this be a beautiful plant to put like at the, sorry about that battery issue, but I was just saying I think it would be really fun to have this plant like on top of a shelf or something, or like up high, and have it just like vine down. I think it would be really beautiful. So we'll see if I can achieve that. Yeah, I've only had it for a couple days and it hasn't died yet. So I consider that to be a success. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're up to. We've been doing a lot of planning for the future. Like I talked about booking Rhinebeck, but also just like having other visitors come next month, and some plans for later in the year as well. One of the best things about like making the change that I did away from my old job into my new job is just the like additional flexibility I have to visit family, to like have visitors here and be able to take time to spend with them, and then also for us to take time to travel as well. And so it's really important to me is to, I don't know, experience things that I want to experience and go places that I want to go, and I don't know, do things that I want to do. So, so I am really loving the like planning that we're able to do on that front. Just like really getting excited about the year to come and what we're going to be able to do. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm sorry if this was like a weird, like shorter episode, and also like I had less knitting stuff. I didn't get to weave. I talked about like weaving that little test square for my blanket. I did not get to that. So I'm hoping I'll do that soon. And then let's see. Got a lot to do. I gotta go to Lowe's. I gotta fold laundry, and I've got lots of knitting on my list. So we'll see what I'm able to accomplish today. But first up was record the podcast. So I'll check that off, and then I'll keep going. So thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully I'll see you and talk to you guys next week. So I hope you do lots of knitting and watch lots of baseball, and have a great week. Bye.